So what's a turkey after? What's that tom turkey after? Well,
Yeah. So they're like college kids, right? We've already talked about two of the three main
yep,
things. That's food, drink, and sex.
that's right.
So let's dive into breeding.
Breeding is what makes the world go round when it comes to turkey hunting in the spring. That's what everything is based off of.
Yep.
It's the number one most important aspect you can learn about for having a successful hunt when it comes to spring turkey hunting. Yeah, you can ambush them on the way to food, but you never know which way they're going to head. There's all sorts of different tactics you can use, but the number one way to be able to call that or to be able to kill that bird is to be able to call him in based on him wanting to breed. So when it comes to breeding, basically what do we know about that? It takes
Well,
place in the spring, but what else?
That's key. Yeah, it takes place in the spring. It's a short duration of time. It's obviously has to happen among all 50 states and subspecies that we talked about. And birds are communicating their courting all the time with that. So the reason it is a big factor is because when the toms are gobbling and dominance and all that stuff that we talked about earlier is taking place, the hens are also being attracted to that. There's that communication there. They're prepping. So they kind of go through different phases. So Marty's going to talk about that a little bit too, of kind of more of like the pre-breeding behavior amongst the turkeys too.
So basically you've got three main stages when it comes to the breeding. You've got the pre, and then the what we call henned up stage, and then the post. The pre-breeding stage, this is where the daylight's getting longer. It's triggering their brains to think, hey, it's time to start thinking about breeding. The weather's getting warmer. All of those factors that tell them, hey, spring's coming. It's time for us to get ready to breed and move from there. So what they're going to start doing at that point is the toms are going to start trying to gather their harem, basically. They're going to start trying to attract the females. And at that point, the females are typically grouped up together. They're just worrying about feeding. They're not thinking about breeding all that much. They're thinking about where they can get food and drink and go about their day. The toms, however, have spent, the last couple weeks at this point being triggered to fight each other. They're spreading out. They're no longer grouped up anymore.
Yep.
And they're wanting to get out and get vocal. They're strutting in the field, showing their stuff off, gobbling their heads off. And this is a good time for you to be able to call one of those toms in, but at the same time, sometimes what they're trying to do really is call the hens to them. So it can also be tough to call them in. So the next step would be what we call henned up, which is, basically they've accomplished that feat. They've been out there, showing their stuff off, gobbling, establishing their dominance, and the hens have said, all right, we want to be with you. Now at this point, the hens are still, for the most part, thinking about eating and drinking, They're just kind of basically doing their thing, and that tom is following them around. Getting that tom to come off of those hens is near impossible. There's ways to do it, but it's extremely tough to do. At a certain point through the henned up stage, the hens are actually going to say, okay, I'm ready to be bred. The process is going to happen. He's going to mount her, and then she's going to decide that it's time for her to head off and build a nest and start getting ready for laying eggs and sitting on that nest. At that point, he goes through his harem, say he's got 10 hens, and over a course of a week, he finally breeds them all and they all go off to nest. Now all of a sudden you've got what we call the post stage, and at this point I would call it the hen searching stage. He's lost all of his hens.
I'd call it my favorite stage.
He's lost all of his hens. But guess what? He still wants to do it. He's been going at it for a couple weeks. He's enjoying the merits of his work, but he doesn't have any hens left. This is the time that these birds are the most killable because they are getting desperate. They know that time's running out. Here in a couple short weeks, there's not going to be any hens left that need to be bred. So if he thinks he's got a receptive hen, he's got to get to her. So that makes it great for being able to call these birds in, decoy setups that will cover more detail here. Like a couple hens together can become killer. He also gets aggressive if he sees a hen with a tom and will try and do whatever he can to kick that tom, out of the realm and take over that place. So Again, the main three areas would be your pre-breeding stage, which is your hen gathering stage, your henned up stage, where he's got his harem and he's currently breeding. And then once he loses those hens, you go into your post-breeding stage where he begins searching again for the few remaining hens that may be out there.
Yeah. So I want to close this lesson with this right here. This is so serious for us as hunters, and that's why I hope you guys take every one of these lessons seriously. Even if it seems irrelevant to going out and killing a turkey, the more you learn this stuff, the more it all comes together. So much so that last year we planned a trip to Kansas based on that third phase, that post-hen phase, because we wanted to go after birds that, toms that had actually have been away from those hens. The hens are gone, they're doing their thing, and they're out there searching. And you'll see them cutting across big fields a lot of times. They'll come into decoys a lot better. So you can actually plan a trip based on knowing that breeding cycle. And that's vital.
Yeah. So when it comes down to planning your hunt, the stage that they're in breeding wise is probably the number one most crucial
It is.
aspect to a spring hunt.